This grouping of containers, they don't match, and two of them are not even real terracotta, but yet this is probably one of my favorite groupings of containers that I've ever done. And I'm going to show you how I put it all together and the materials that I've used today for this project. Stick around, I have a lot to show you. So my main goal for this space was to create something that feels balanced, but yet at the same time interesting to look at. And that's what I'm going to try to do by adding this group of three in containers, because by having a group of three, you automatically create balance. And there's a lot to say about adding things that are in odd numbers. Like this by itself is fine. Two pots here would kind of look awkward, but as soon as you add that third pot, it looks a little bit more deliberate. Now, the interesting thing, or this is where it actually gets fun, is that these pots don't match. They are all different in their own way. Obviously, the first container here, which is the largest one, is a faux container that I upgraded a couple years ago. I'm going to clean this up in just a second. And that was a really fun project because this container by itself was like $19. It's a very large container that I found from Lowe's, but when I purchased it, it didn't look the best. It looked rather cheap, so I had painted it this brown color to give it more of a glazed pottery look to it, and I was really happy with that. And it's kind of withstood the test of time. But then these two containers are really exciting because I wanted to go with a terracotta look. Even though they're not all matching, in my mind, I don't think they need to match. In fact, my eye is drawn to gardens where the pots are all different. The second container, or this one right here, I really wanted terracotta, and I was very pleased to find this at Walmart. It's actually plastic, and you wouldn't be able to tell otherwise because I set it next to a lot of the pots that they had there that were terracotta, and it was very, very, very close, and I was so impressed. I snatched this up really quick. Plus, you know, terracotta pots, like I said, they can add up, especially ones like this, really quick. And when we're all on a budget, finding those cost-cutting corners is always exciting. And then the smallest container here is the real deal. And it was a great deal also at Walmart. And I could kind of set them side by side before I purchased it. I'm like, this is going to really work out well. And you know, guys, I really am drawn to more naturally looking garden design. I mean, I love formality. That's always great. And I love looking at those certain gardens that have containers that all match, and that's beautiful. But there's just something kind of natural about containers that don't match. And I think my element of not matching here is just having the largest one a different color, because these two, even though they're different material, they kind of match each other. And so by placing them here, it seems a little bit more deliberate. Now, we all have our own taste, and there is no set hard rules for gardening. And I know some people will think, oh, well, this doesn't really look that intentional because this is a different color, but I don't really mind that, and that's okay. If you're good with whatever you put in your yard, then go with that. If that makes you happy and you enjoy whatever product you get from adding those materials into your yard, that's fantastic. That's what it's all about. So I'm going to start with this medium-sized container, and I'm going to plant it up with this gorgeous perennial, this buddleia, which is I believe it's the Ruby Chip variety from Proven Winners. I've had it in this container, I hate to say it, for over a year, and it's it's stressed. It needs to find a better place to be, and I think this is going to be the absolute perfect place for it. But before I plant this in here with some really nice potting soil, you want to make sure you use potting soil because you want it to be able to drain really well, especially buddleia. They don't like to have wet feet, so I want to make sure that I start with this container getting some drainage holes drilled in there first. It has a place for 2 of them, but I'm going to probably add 5 because I don't want any chance of this getting clogged, because it'll definitely be the demise to this beautiful buddleia. I love this variety because it will stay nice and compact. It's not your full-size variety by any means. It'll probably stay right around this side, maybe just a little bit larger. I think it's from 2.5 feet to 3 feet tall and wide, but since it's in the container, I can kind of maintain it by cutting it back every year, and I think it'll be just fine. So let's start by putting some drainage holes in this container, adding the potting soil, and then getting that planted up. I don't need to really add anything to this because buddleia are they aren't super heavy feeders and they don't like a lot of fertilizer. If I do feel like it needs a little bit of nutrients throughout the summer, I might hit it with just a little bit of fish base or fish emulsion, just a little tiny bit, because a little bit goes a long way, because they do need a little bit of nutrients, but they don't need to be doused with as much as our annuals do. So let's get this planted up. All right, so for this small container, this is the real terracotta, and so it has quite a large hole in the bottom, which most terracottas come with a single hole that's huge like that. So we want to make sure that we kind of shore that up just a little bit in a way that allows for drainage still, but not for a complete clog. And in the past, if you've seen any of my other terracotta videos, you know that I've taken broken terracotta and put it down on the bottom to where it kind of covers it so all of the soil doesn't just drain out completely. In this case, I'm going to use some large bark from some of the mulch that I've recently put down in my yard. Pieces that are about that big are perfect. So we just want to put that just a little bit around, in and around and on top of the hole. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my soil to the bottom. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to plant in here. It's going to be great. All right, now before I plant, I'm going to add just a little bit of this continuous premium release fertilizer by Proven Winners. It's going to be great over the summer. It's heat activated, which means it will release the food that the plant needs in the hottest months, so that when some of these containers start to lose some of their nutrients, it will pick up where sometimes I forget. So that's always a nice thing to add. I'm also going to add a little bit of biotone starter fertilizer so that it can establish its root growth and it can really set it up for success. So just a little bit of that in here. And since I am planting an annual in here, it's a little bit more important, actually a lot more important than the buddleia that I just planted up. So mix that around a little bit, and then I'm going to use the drop-in method. So I'm going to use the pot that this annual came with and set that in the center, and then just backfill soil around the pot. And when we add our soil, we don't want to allow the soil to go above where the root ball crown is so that it doesn't choke out the plant. There's some plants that will allow you to do that. Tomatoes are one of those where they like to be planted deeper than what their original root ball is, because they can actually stimulate their roots no matter how you plant them. But in most cases, you want to be careful of that so it doesn't choke off the plant. I know I always talk about this, but sometimes I forget because I get really excited, and when I plant up my containers, I forget to leave a little bit of a space or a lip in the container, and I end up filling it too full with soil, and then there's nowhere for the water to go if you're going to deep soak them, especially in a terracotta container like this that every so often is going to need a deep soak. You want to leave a little bit of a lip so that when you do water them, the water doesn't just run off over the sides. I know it's common sense, but sometimes we forget. So I'm just pressing that soil around that pot nice and tight and compact. This way, when I pull my pot out, it'll leave me a place to drop in my beautiful annual, and it will fit like a glove, just like that. Perfect. Now, I think that's going to be really cheerful. This is going to look beautiful because it's nice and compact. This also is the Some Beanie, which is a trailing zinnia, and it doesn't really trail, it mostly mounds. It will kind of fall over just a little bit, but it's not going to trail like a calibrachoa or a petunia will do. And so you're going to still see the pot, which is what I want to do here. I want to keep the structure, and I'll talk more about that later. But I grew this variety last year, and I was so happy with the results. It's great for full sun, which this is more than 7 hours of sun every day. Both of these do well once established. They are not super water hungry. They need water, but they don't need to be overly watered. And hopefully this will just mound beautifully. So one last thing to do is to clean out this container right here so that we finish off the cohesive look. Let's get this cleaned up. I love how the final product turned out. Everything looks fantastic, and it actually was pretty intentional of what I was trying to do. If I had planted plants that trail over in every one of these pots, you would lose the pot structure themselves. And the pots are part of the story in this container area where you have the group of 3. Because if we lose the containers, then you really can't tell what's in here. In the past, I've been really excited about spillers, and I planted tons of pots with spillers and everything spilling over, and you kind of lose the structure when you have that happening. I mean, we all get excited for massive blooms, and there's plenty of place for those obviously behind me here in the back of me. And that's perfect because you want that large like mass of flowers to kind of trail down. But here we still want to keep the integrity of the pots and what charm they bring to the yard. We have the amazing structure of the boxwood here, which when it's cleaned up, it looks really nice. And then the sunbeanie, it's creeping zinnia. I said earlier that it was a trailing zinnia. Creeping zinnia, trailing zinnia. I mean, it's probably the same thing, but it's more of a mounding growth habit, and that's what it did for me last year. To kind of give a little bit of softening effect, I planted this brand new for this year mini vista pink cloud underneath the boxwood here, and I did not plant it all the way around because I don't want to lose the structure of the larger pot, and it will soften this area by giving a little bit of contrast and growth habit. And then of course the buddleia, when that thing starts to bloom, it'll bloom all throughout the season. It'll go through different kind of bloom cycles that all of these are in. We have a nice soft pastel look with that yellow, the pink, and then the purpley pink right here of the buddleia. Beautiful. I'm so excited to see how this grows. And I've maneuvered it around just a little bit, and I've kind of landed on this area or this configuration, because when we look outside from our back door, it really looks the best visually with the smaller pot on this side, the medium pot here, and then of course with the larger pot in the background. So if you've liked this kind of design focused planting, then make sure that you come back and check out the videos that we have coming your way for the season. I have a lot more coming. I have a lot of plants to plant, and I'm really excited to share them with you. But before that, I'm really excited to know, or I'm curious to know, what is your favorite way to garden? Do you like planting in the landscape? Do you like container gardening? And if you do, what are your go-tos? Do you like to plant in terracotta? Do you have a lot of plastic containers? Do you like hanging baskets? It's always great to share what you guys have going on in your yard, and I always love reading the comments. So until next time, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's video of this trio of containers. I'm actually going to do this again on the other side because I have another boxwood over there that I have to plant up, because I do want to have that cohesion throughout the yard, but it'll be another group just like this. And I'll be sure to share with you what all of this looks like throughout the season in my upcoming garden tour videos. Until next time, everybody, I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye now.